Do we have it now? Okay, great. I'd like to welcome everybody to our final for 2020 Seniors Living Smarter webinar. Our theme this time is surviving downsizing with the least pain possible. And we're excited to kind of share a story with you today when we get to that part of it. So we will be explaining more about that. And we have people continuing to join us, which is great. You know, Zoom always throws us surprises along the way. We all have to learn to be flexible, but that's part of it. For those of you who were with us last month, you'll remember at the end, my mic went out. We had computer glitches on my computer. So now I have a new computer, and that's presented some new little last minute challenges we learned. So we don't have our pretty Seniors Living Smarter virtual background up there, but that's okay. We've got a great group of people with us to share information today, and a great group of people to learn and be part of our community. As I think we really have become a community. It's a little bit of a challenge when we're a virtual community. When we were for the 4.5 years almost together monthly, many of us really formed a lot of relationships. A lot of times people didn't know names of other people, but you knew kind of where people sat, and you shared stories about what your plans were. And so it was a fun way to build relationships. So they change a little bit now as we've had to switch to the webinar, but we work together and do the best we can. For those of you who are new with us, I am Georgiana Liesenbee. I'm a certified senior downsizing coach and realtor. I started these webinars, seminars. This is our 5th year. We just had our 50th webinar a few months ago. I saw the need for seniors to have information, and I had the opportunity to work with a lot of wonderful people, and I wanted to be able to share that information. So we say the purpose of our seminars is to educate, equip, and inspire seniors to make informed decisions and empowered choices. And I've seen people who really have learned from the experience, and that's been great. We will continue the webinars next year, starting January, and I'll announce that one a little bit later. But I want today to spend a brief amount of time thanking our sponsors who've helped to make this possible. And these are people, businesses who share the commitment to providing information, not marketing, but wanting seniors to be empowered to make their decisions. And so we have some of our sponsors weren't able to be with us today, but we want to recognize those and give them some time just to give a brief introduction. Silver Key Benefits, we have Howard Polanski with us. Howard, start us off.
Yeah, good morning, Virginia. Good morning, community. My name's Howard Polanski. I'm with Silver Key Benefits. We're Medicare brokers, or more generally, we're insurance brokers. We focus on Medicare. Obviously, now is peak season for us. If you watch TV, you've seen the commercials. Find a plan, they'll give you $1 million, total lie. But you get the idea. Virginia and I, we did a post, I think it's going to be on your blog, Virginia, if I'm not mistaken, coming out today. I made a video in terms of how Medicare works, the changes that are going on for 2021. It is all timestamped, so you do not have to watch the entire 40-minute video unless you choose to. But to give an example of what I do, just yesterday, met a new client. All we did was switch the drug plans. And by switching drug plans, he will save over $6,000 next year. Same drugs, different plan, same pharmacy. So instead of you having to try and figure it out all on your own, I do it for you for no cost. So that's it. Thank you.
Well, and we will get that information out today. Thank you for doing that. And please, we've got great people here to answer questions. Follow up with you. So take advantage of don't take advantage of them, but utilize their resources. So, and they're willing to share and do a lot of information providing. Another one of our sponsors is Traditions Health. Chris Willis couldn't be with us today. We've had Chris on panels before. Traditions Health deals with end-of-life issues and hospice, but it's so much more. I think we've had them on the panel before. People need to rethink the whole thing of hospice. It's not the 2 weeks of life, end of life, which I think so many of us have the misunderstanding, but great resources there. If that's something you need more information, Traditions Health is a fantastic resource for that. Vera Bank, Will Boughton could not be here today. He had another commitment, but he's been on the previous panels. Vera Bank Wealth Management, or fiduciary, providing financial and estate planning, trusteeship, executorship, and investment management with a truly local touch. That group led by Will is so committed to seniors having information. So there's a great resource for you to turn to. The contact information for these groups will be it's on our website, and we'll follow up with communication about giving you that information as well. Visiting Angels, we have Stacy Scarborough with us today. Stacy, introduce yourself and tell us a little bit more about the great things you provide.
Hi, everyone. My name is Stacy Scarborough. I'm with Visiting Angels Home Care right there in Georgetown. We've been around for about 17 years, and we provide caregiver services in the home and in senior communities. We are running at full capacity. We have caregiver staff, full office staff. So give us a call if you are needing some extra assistance, and we can help you.
And that's an important part at full staff, because I know there've been some people who had concerns, oh, but there's no one who will help me during COVID. And so please know they are there to provide appropriate services with all the safeguards and so on. And I have to say, I had a really nice email from Stacy recently saying that she was really thrilled that she'd had some people to reach out to her coming from the seminars who had had the introduction there. So I was glad to know they had followed up and utilizing the services provided there. We're glad to have Georgiana Hewitt with us today, representing the Wesleyan. They offer a wide range of services. Most of us, in our world of dealing with seniors, we often think of the independent living and assisted living communities that they offer, as well as memory care and skilled nursing and rehab. They also have home care, home health care, and they also have hospice. There's your one-stop shop for all of your services. So Georgianne, welcome, and tell us a little bit more about, I know you could go on forever, but you can kind of highlight some things about the Wesleyan.
Sure. Good morning, everyone. It's lovely to be here with you virtually this morning. Yes, the Wesleyan is a full continuum of care. We have been part of the Georgetown community for 58 years. And we started out on University Avenue as a retirement home when people didn't even know really what retirement homes were, and have expanded with Georgetown through the years. And Virginia is right. We have almost every level of care: independent living, assisted living, memory care, skilled nursing and rehab. We have home health, hospice, and caregiver services. And so our aim as a faith-based nonprofit is to that all of our residents and clients have abundant life. And so we really look at the wellness of the whole person, and in all of our programs attempt to meet the needs of those we serve, whether they be physical needs, social needs, spiritual needs, or mental needs. And so we attempt with our wonderful, amazing staff to enrich the lives, to bring the fullness that we know the senior years can be. So thank you very much for the opportunity to sponsor these wonderful seminars.
Well, we appreciate that. And, I like what you said, Georgianne, about these years in abundant life. I think, it's a great segue. Our January webinar is going to be Living to 100. And, we see that used to just seem like such a rarity. And now it just seems like, we've seen pages of 100-year birthday celebration so many times. So we thought that would be a fun webinar to kick off 2021 with. And it's a pretty broad topic then there's a lot to plan for. And, I think we have to expand our horizons. Sometimes we just plan for the immediate, but it's still and people are living. And, you know, that's one of the things that we want to stress. And Cheryl, you could pick up on that when you talked this morning too. Independent living, when we talk about senior living communities, it's independent living, folks. That's one of the messages we're trying to get across. It's not the old nursing home. It's not skilled nursing, you know, and that's really what started these seminars a lot. Was there's just so many misunderstandings or not having information. So we're glad to have that. Again, I want to thank our sponsors. You will be getting certificates of appreciation, and we're going to, I think technology is fun. We're going to fade their videos. So then we will move into our panel for today. I want to check and make sure. Okay. Pat and Cheryl and Janet and Gove, you have your hands up. Are those, well, let me just make sure there's not an immediate question. Are you getting in line for questions? Pat, did you have an immediate question, or is it one you want us to address when we open it up at the end? You have to unmute yourself. Whoops. Yeah. Oh, yes. Okay. You know what I'm going to do is I'm going to assume these are people, because I know some who reached out to me and said they had questions. So if I'm going to save those to the end, as we usually do, and so you can get in the lineup here by raising your hand, and we will come back to you. The reason we do it this way is that often the questions get answered through the presentation. So we've just found out that it works well to do that. So today, surviving downsizing with the least pain possible. We're doing a little bit different format. We want it to be kind of a story format. So we're going to be hearing from our downsizee. In fact, I will let me explain the format, then I'll come back and you all can do more. Cheryl Willis is our downsizee. In fact, she told me she's been a faithful attender of the seminars over the years. And she said, I think we need to share the story of how it all fits together. So that's what we're doing. And then, let's go and do the introductions. Cheryl, anything else you want to say? Just a quick introduction about your experience. I mean, not your whole experience, but yes, your introduction. You'll have to unmute yourself now. Okay. Let me finish mine. Well, go ahead, or Jeff.
Okay.
Okay, Cheryl, there you go. I'm sorry. Okay.
Am I okay? All right. I'm very happy to share our experience with everybody, because I think there's so much misinformation out there about downsizing and moving as you are a senior. And I think this is going to be very helpful to all of you out there. So I hope maybe you'll take some notes and take note of the people that we have on the panel, because they are very, very helpful. They make this whole downsizing and moving process so much easier. It doesn't have to stress you out. You don't have to end up with no hair because you've ripped it all out by the roots. Hopefully you will take a lot away from this seminar.
Thanks, Cheryl. So Cheryl is the person who is making the move. So what we're doing today is we have the team who helped simplify it for her that we will be sharing. And I'll do the roles now, people. I was the move coordinator, as a downsizing coach. What are those pieces that need to happen to make the whole move possible? And when we think about the whole part of the many parts of downsizing, there's the move itself, the organizing, getting ready for the move, getting settled in a new place. We're going to hear about that from the move manager who worked on this team. And then there is the stuff that's left, getting rid of the stuff, the estate liquidation part. And that's where we're going to hear from Holly Bruns today. She'll be introducing herself in just a minute. And then I was the move coordinator. Oh, and then before the other parts, that's what I need to say. Other parts of downsizing would be the property preparation. Once we have everybody out, stuff out, we've got to get the house ready, whether there be some repairs or just the cleaning. That property preparation is important. That's my coordination again. And then, of course, the real estate part. So what I'm trying to say is, as a downsizing coach and realtor, I do more than just the real estate. I help coordinate, and that's where we bring in different teams. Some of you have heard the teams we use for property prep, and we'll have those on other panels at other times too. But the focus today is on the move and getting rid of the stuff. So Linda, introduce yourself, and then Holly, and then we'll be ready to start in.
Thank you so much, Virginia. I really appreciate it and happy to be here. As Virginia said, my name is Linda Carter and I am the owner of Life's Next Step. We are a turnkey move management company, and we help seniors, individuals, families. We help them downsize and help them move into smaller homes or retirement communities. And we have been in business since 2008.
Okay. You'll be hearing a lot from Linda shortly. Holly.
Hi, everybody. I'm Holly Bruns, and I am the owner and founder of Relic Road TX, which does a couple of different things. And in Cheryl's case, I'm working with Virginia. We provide estate sale services in a personal and unique way, and it's catered to our individual clients and their homes' needs, with our ability and goal of maximizing the profits and clearing the home to be realtor ready for the next steps. And then the other thing that we provide is buyout and clean out services, where we help determine with the clients if this option is best for them. And then we walk them through the process if it doesn't fall under an estate sale.
All right. So there you have a snippet of what these businesses and people provide. And I wish that we had had a whole recording going just we had a conversation earlier this week, I guess, or last week. And then we had one this morning, just to hear the interaction between Cheryl and Linda and Holly about how it all happened. I'm going to give you a clue today on what I hope you take away. Is reducing the stress and simplifying the move. It is so overwhelming. Reach out to the professionals who can make it happen for you. Yes, you're going to make an investment, but it's well worth it, health-wise, relation-wise, in so many ways. So that I'm just kind of wanted to highlight that for you, because what we're really talking about is the coordination of the logistics and trying to reduce that so you're not having to do as much. And so I just want to make sure that that's clear, and I think you'll see it. And so again, for those of you who are new to our webinars, take your notes, save your questions, and you can go ahead and raise your hand, and I'll call on you at the end to address questions. I also want to say, I know you're going to want much more detailed information in 2021 webinars. We will be coming back to this, and usually we spend more in depth, but we do different formats. We just wanted to share a personal story this time and see if it ties together to help people have a better understanding. So as the move coordinator, I'm going to start out for us. So Cheryl, what were your biggest concerns about your anticipated downsizing move from your home in Sun City to your cottage at the Wesleyan? You were waiting for that to happen. The cottages were completed and you were ready to plan more specifically for the move. So tell us a little bit about your concerns.
I think probably the biggest concern that we had was how to organize all the stuff that we had and determine what to take and what not to take. And I'm going to preface everything I say with, I don't know how we would have made this move without Linda and Holly. This was our 10th move. The other 9, I had done everything myself. I had coordinated everything. And as my husband reminded me as we were getting ready to make this move, you're 18 years older than you were when you moved the last time. You're not young anymore. You maybe could use some help with this. And with that, I started putting the pieces together from Virginia's seminars and realized that help is out there. I think in talking to a lot of people, I have realized that most people don't realize there is such a thing as a move coordinator. There are people out there that can help you coordinate this move, get all the pieces together so that you aren't stressed out and crazy by the time the move happens. And that's what Linda did, Linda and her team. I realized the day that Linda and her right-hand person, Brooke, came to our house and walked through the house with legal pads, opening every drawer and every cupboard and every closet, making notes. They had pages and pages of notes. I realized these people have done this before. They know what they're doing. And this move is going to be much easier than all the others. And it was. Linda's company, Life's Next Step, will do as much or as little as you want them to do. We chose to have them do everything. They packed us. They took care of picking the mover. I didn't have to pick out a moving company, which is a major big deal, because you really don't know movers. You've had no experience with them, most of you. Linda has movers that she uses and trusts. And as she said, she's trained them. They were phenomenal. They were absolutely phenomenal. But Linda's company packed us like no one has ever packed our belongings before. I had no worries about anything breaking. Her company uses something called bungo boxes. They're great big, hard plastic boxes with attached lids that flap down over the top. And then 4 bungo boxes stack on a rolling dolly. So they pack these very sturdy boxes with your belongings. They stack the 4 of them on the rolling dolly, and the dolly just rolls right onto the moving truck. And when it gets to your new place, it rolls right off the truck and into your new house. Then they take those boxes away. You've basically rented those bungo boxes. Linda's company also uses regular cardboard boxes when needed. Our move, on the day of the move, everything was loaded on the trucks. We had 2 trucks. By noon, the trucks were at our new place. By the end of the day, almost all of the bungo boxes and cardboard boxes were unpacked. Our beds were made. Our kitchen was set up. And we were ready to go. I told Linda and Virginia just a little while ago, usually when you move on moving day, you're stressed, you're exhausted by the end of the day. It comes time when you say, I've got to go to bed. Oh my golly, where are my sheets? And then you have to find your sheets and make the bed. I didn't have to do any of that. My bed was made. And the pillows were on the bed, I will say, arranged on my bed. They don't just throw things together. They arranged everything. The move was so stress-free. We also chose to have a couple of Linda's people come back the next day and finish unpacking the remaining bungo boxes and cardboard boxes. By 1 o'clock, they had scheduled the bungo box people to come. They took all of those away. And I hate to admit we had 72 of those things. That was sort of appalling that we had that much stuff, but we did. They took the bungo boxes away and they unpacked the rest of the boxes, and they hung 17 pieces of art. So by the end of day 2, we had a house completely set up, and I could have had guests over that night. The house looked that good. This has never happened in a move. Usually, as you all know, you all have moved before. You're maybe weeks, sometimes months getting your house set up. And I didn't have any of that problem with this move because of Life's Next Step. Anything else, Virginia?
Well, we're going to be filling in, and I want to capsulize kind of what the move manager does, and then Linda will address more of it.
Okay.
But the sorting, the organizing to help you in what are you taking?
Yes.
We so often get caught up in all the stuff. What is it? And that's their skill. What is it that you need to take with you? So the sorting, the organizing, packing, moving, unpacking. Well, often they talk about if the homeowner downsizer kind of disappears for the day, come back, and they like to have a reveal to show their new place set up for them, and the care that is given in the organization of getting the stuff ready and so on. So Linda, you tell us more about your services then.
Okay, well, Cheryl did such a great job. I'm not sure if I've got a whole lot more to contribute, but basically what we do, I think the big thing is we are called senior move managers. And how we differ from a typical moving company is a typical mover packs boxes and moves things from point A to point B. So we just do a whole lot more than that. So we are involved in all the scheduling. So we first start out with all of the scheduling of the move. And I'm going to back this up too first. So I'm going to give you a list of everything that we do. But as Cheryl noted, you can choose, pick and choose whatever services are helpful for you. So kind of think a la carte on the services. But basically what we do is we begin by having a meeting, and then we get into delving into all of the scheduling, the coordinating, and the logistics. So what that means for us is scheduling the movers, scheduling the community, loading docks, elevators, things like that. And we also are scheduling anything that has to do, like maybe if you want a TV hung or you need a shredding service or whatever that might be. So we get all of those things lined up first. Then the next thing we do is we jump into preparing computer generated floor plans. That is a huge first relief for people, in the fact that it gives you that first understanding, kind of like, these are what I get to take. And so then we begin to know what's going to happen with the excess after that. So that's our next step that we do. And then after that, we have our teams that come in and work with you. They go through closets, open up closets, say, do you want it? Do you not want it? If you want it, then we're going to take it out and pack it for the new location that it's going to go in your home. If you don't want it, hopefully you're having an estate sale, we get to put it back in the closet, shut the door, and walk away. If you're not having an estate sale, then we do help with all the dispersal of any of the excess contents too. I guess from that point on, we will obtain a quote from the movers, which we've had a relationship with them for 13 years now. So we have them well-trained, and they do a great job. But we'll obtain a quote, review that, making sure it's accurate. Then we help with, we oversee the movers on the day of the move, making sure that the right pieces of furniture are going to make it to your place. Our team goes in, immediately unpacks, begins setting up the apartment, organizing. We decorate as we go, we hang artwork, we hook up all the electronics, and then we get rid of all of the excess. So basically, we can encompass anything that you need to have help with. And we also do kind of personal services. So things like if you need to have a closet design, so if you want to have an alpha closet system put in before you move in, we can take care of that. We also help with decluttering. We help with purchasing of new furniture pieces. So kind of anything and everything. And I think I do want to tap on this, that even though we come in there, it is not our job to tell you what to do or what to take. All we do is we get in there and we make suggestions, and we try to be that voice of reason. So we've seen this thousands of times. And so, we have a great handle on what it is that will fit. But if you want to take something, it is your home and your right to do that. So just know that it's not our job to tell you what to do, but it is our job to be a voice of reason. So yeah, I think that's kind of sums everything up.
I want to pick up and clarify once again the role. You use a mover, obviously, to load the stuff and transport it. But if someone hires a mover to come move them, or even to pack and move them, they pack and move. Whatever there is, it packs in whatever order it fits into the box, and whatever order that box goes into the truck, and they put it out, and there it is. The thought that goes into what move managers do in terms of organizing for the move, so that things come out, we can get that bed, we can get those wardrobe boxes, get that stuff hung up while the bed comes out, so someone can be making up the bed. So it is all organized for the just ultimate of efficiency. Things are packed so that, Cheryl, I remember you were telling us when you were just so amazed when things unpacked at your new place. It was already door 1, door 2, those things were packed together. They opened up that box and put them in the drawer, and you were ready to entertain. And it's so I just wanted to stress that. Let's see, the other thing that I wanted to ask you to, when we say it's a la carte, and it is, when we talk about do as much, or, and that's where you're very specific with people. These are the services we offer. What can we do for you to make your move easier? And so that is, you have a contract that you and the mover, you and the downsizer enter into. And so it just simplifies things. And I do see situations where people then can be concerned about the expense. Oh no, don't do that. We'll just do it. And they do it during the move, and it becomes confusing. And then, and even when people say, I want to do it myself, I want to save money, it makes it hard on everybody, truthfully. You cannot be as efficient when you're working around stuff. You move, and then there's lots of stuff left at the previous home that still needs to go to the new apartment usually. And they say, oh, but those are just little things, we'll take them. Well, I've seen where that it just becomes very difficult. And then they say that move was just too hard. Well, we tried to make it easier for you. And I know the cost is going to vary a lot, but I can hear people saying in their mind, so let's go ahead and address this, Linda. It depends, I know, but can you give us some idea of the cost?
So I wish I could. I wish there was a flat fee that I could say, okay, it's this. But the reality of it is that everybody has different desires and hot points and whatever's important to them. So we go into a house and somebody may be a big bookie, and so they want to have a bookcase full of books. Well, that's super simple to pack. Another person, we may go in and they may have tons of crystal and china. That just takes longer. So what we do, it's a very intentional walk through. As Cheryl stated, when we walk through, we're going to open up drawers and we're asking you questions. Do you think you want this? We don't expect you to have all those answers, but by hearing you, we can get a general feel for how much you're going to want to take. So at that time, then what we're able to do is we're able to produce an estimate for you. And we give you about I think it's a $500 range. And we typically hit within that range. So you're going to get, unless you start asking for more services, which seem to happen sometimes, people, I think they find a trusted source of help, and so they start wanting that. But when we walk through the house, if we're able to pretty closely estimate, like I said, within about a $500 range of what we believe your move is going to cost. And so that and in all of that time, or whatever that estimate, there's no charge for you for us to come out and do that. And if nothing else, we hope you get some information on how you proceed forward if you don't use our services. So so everyone, it's very much people, it's not like going in and moving the whole house. It's a very customized situation because you're not taking everything. And so we have to hear, what is it that we need to do? Maybe you want us to hang curtains. Maybe you want us to purchase washer and dryers for you. Maybe you want us to schedule a TV install. And that's why it's so personalized in getting these things accomplished. And so that's why it's hard to know, there's just all scales of what people want to have done.
And I just want to remind people, and Cheryl, I want you to pick up on this too. We know it's an investment, and and even if you look, oh my goodness, hourly rate or whatever, I will say for people who are efficient, this, and there are a variety of, services, I realize, but I have, and I've witnessed their moves and the efficiency with which these people can pack. They can do so much in an hour. Anyway, so again, but we're not trying to market this group as we are wanting to make you aware of what move managers do, questions to ask, check references. The efficiency with which this work gets done. Cheryl, you want to pick up some more on that?
I was going to say, I honestly can't imagine moving again without using Life's Next Step. I can't even fathom trying to do it myself after seeing what these people do and how efficiently they do it. I'm going to say by the end of this experience, both Holly's going to be coming up next. But Linda's group and Holly's group became like family to us. They were, I knew I could trust them from day one. I didn't have any worries about anything disappearing or them not treating my belongings with respect. I told Linda a story. I'll shorten it here. In all the move, this whole move, I had one little spoon rest that broke. And the gal, Dawn, came up to me with it the day of the move. And she was very, very upset that something had broken. I sort of kidded her that it was a family heirloom and worth thousands of dollars. It was a spoon rest from Cracker Barrel, worth like $4.95. But she and I had a good laugh over that, kidding that this was a priceless heirloom. But the fact that she was so upset that one thing got broken, nothing is supposed to get broken, and it usually doesn't. This was no big deal. I told her I had Gorilla Glue. The problem is solved. But the care that they took and the fact that they were so concerned about our things, I really, really would hate to make a move without these people. Both companies, both Linda's company and Holly's company, they really, truly made the move easy. You've worked all your life. You've tried to save money and all that. Use it to make your life easier when you move, because you can just drive yourself crazy and there's no need for it. Linda's group will make your move easier, and they will do it in a very caring way.
Well, let's move on to, I know, so getting the move was a big thing, and we'll come back to questions later. But I know, Cheryl, when we first met, as we were doing the broad planning, and you were concerned that you had a lot of stuff that you weren't going to have space for, and you truthfully didn't need, but it just kind of kept collecting over the years. And I must say, everybody's very different, but as I recall, you had some very nice artwork that you were concerned about, you know, how you were going to be able to, what to do with that. From your husband's dental practice and his military service, you had some very interesting collections of antique medical tools, I think from his father or somebody. And
grandfather, yeah. So
it was quite interesting to see. And I will say that when we started the process with Cheryl, and some of you on the webinar, Patrick McKay has worked with us, and he still works with Holly. And he was the one we were working with at that time a lot for buyouts. And he was the one who came on board to help. He was with Five Star Traders. And to what are we going to do with this? Because we're going to hear from Holly about the estate sale and much more. But sometimes when we have these special items that we really want to start early on, or I want to reassure the client, yes, these are not things we're going to put in an estate sale, but these are, we're going to need to have special way. And that's where you want an experienced person who knows the audience, knows the value of items and what is the best way to handle those. And so we were able to, a lot of that stuff then, so there was some online selling going on. And then Holly came in to do the estate sale. And you must say, when you go through a house, Cheryl had a lot of stuff. Let's just be honest. I think you all brought over some stuff from storage. So here we have, they've moved to their cottage. It's 1,700 square feet. It's large. You've taken a lot of stuff there, and there was a lot left at the house.
A lot, yes.
You walk through there, and how to get rid of it, how to organize it to get rid of it, it's overwhelming. Let me just say, as an introduction here, an estate sale is not just a garage sale, come in and buy stuff. For an effective estate sale, you have to have an experienced person who knows the value, who knows how to organize it in this day and time, who has an established website presence and followers. So you're going to have a good audience there. I will also say that two things. One is, I have said often, Holly's challenging my thinking on this, that sometimes we have oversold the idea of doing estate sales. For some people, you may not have enough to do an estate sale. Holly will help us understand a little bit more about what the qualifications might be and what the options, alternatives are. But if it's determined there's enough for an estate sale, the organization and the managing of it is so important. But most importantly, it always depends on the situation. This is not a time to make your fortune. Now, it can be very helpful to hopefully offset the cost of the move, and it depends. But folks, don't count on this. Our goal is to get rid of the stuff, to do the liquidation in the most appropriate way possible. And that's what Holly's going to help us understand. She's going to sell what she can, and then other times we have to look at donations and work through the list of how to do that. So Holly, you walked into Dick and Cheryl Will's house, and you saw a lot of stuff, and you didn't walk away. You said, doable, I can do it. And you did it in a very fast time. So tell us what your role became.
So as in this role in a estate sale coordinator, just looking at what options were best for Cheryl and for Dick with all of their belongings that were left over. What we want to do is get the house emptied as soon as possible so it can move on to be sold, but also take into account how much value can still be there and how much those items can still mean to somebody else who might really need them or collect them. So we came in and we sat and got to know Cheryl and her husband, and like she said, immediately there's a click, and that is always something that's very important to us. It's very personal when we're starting to deal with people's things and their items that they've collected over time, and that maybe even come from family members, much of like what Cheryl had. So we take a good walk through the house and we learn all about what's going to be available. And my mind is whirling through that time, processing what scenarios are going to work best to be best for Cheryl and for us as a company. And we then determine if it was, in Cheryl's case, it was clearly enough for an estate sale. I knew that pretty quickly. We looked to see all different types of items available. And then the process then would include, after Cheryl is completely moved out, our team then comes in and we spend a good amount of time going through everything that's left in the house. We organize it, we stage it, we prep it, we determine the value on it based on current market, which is what people are willing to pay right now. And we have a really good system for being able to understand what that dollar amount is. And then we spend the rest of the time making it look like a pop-up retail store is a good way to kind of articulate that. We want people when they're coming in to be able to look at items, and then we want them to feel comfortable. And when we're asking them to pay for something that's been used, even slightly used, you just have to take that into consideration, that the environment is such a huge factor. So we take good care in presenting Cheryl and her husband's things like all over the home, just to look nice. And then we spend the rest of the time marketing to get the followers to come to be a part of the event. And that's the key, and it hinges on that. So as shoppers, and we call them our charm, a flock of hummingbirds, so to speak, is called a charm of hummingbirds. So we have a huge following. We've been doing this for 9 years, and people are just constantly waiting for where we're going to be next so that they can find whatever it is they're looking for someone else or for themselves. And we just walked Cheryl through that whole process, I think, just step by step. So she understood that all of her items were very respectfully going to be rehomed and taken care of. So that's kind of a little bit of an insight on how we do it once we're in the home. And we spend about 10 to 14 days total time, depending on the size of the home. The one that we did for you, Virginia, was a bit bigger. It took a little bit longer to get taken care of.
A mega estate sale.
There's some mega ones, yeah, and they take longer. But in general, we're in and out, and we have the home cleared of all contents, swept and vacuumed, ready for whatever Virginia has planned next within about 10 to 14 days.
One thing I want to emphasize is when I started working with Holly, and Cheryl was the first one that we worked together on, and just how impressed I was with Holly's interest in the stories, of the stuff, and wanting to that helped her know how to present it. And this last sale that she mentioned that she did, it was an estate. So there no family was there, but she was dealing with the attorneys and what could they tell her about the people so she could understand some, and it kind of helped her because she takes this so personally. Relic Road estate sales, she does this out of a passion for, she grew up, as I understand, with lived a lot with her grandparents, and she loves the stories of seniors and of their belongings. And here she is with all this time pressure and all this stuff to sort through, but she wants those stories and when possible communicates them to the new people. And I just think that is the beauty of it. So, and we'll spend more time about this, I know, but one thing I want to stress now is two things. People are wondering, how does COVID affect this? Can we still do sales? What safe measures, protocols are followed? So go ahead and address that. And I'm going to get that later with Linda. I skipped that one. Go ahead, Holly, on estate sales.
Okay, so COVID has definitely expanded our business workings, but in a very positive way, I would say. What we've gained from this is we've added the online features of an estate sale. So basically, since we're so limited, especially in certain areas like Sun City, not all cities or parts of the city are like that, but in particular in that community, we are limited to about 5 people in the house at a time. So what it's caused us to do is go by appointment only. And so we spend a lengthier time doing the sale as opposed to just having mass amounts of people come through to keep everybody safe. But it's worked out very well because it's given it's created intentional shoppers. So sometimes what we would deal with is like just random, and it's not that you don't want people to just be maybe want this, maybe want that, but we do only have a certain amount of time. So when you hone it in and you make them make an appointment, they are serious buyers. So that's been a positive thing. It also keeps less traffic through the home, which is, we've liked less opportunity for anything to go wrong for whatever stages are next. But the online side of it is where we go in now and we're picking between 200 and 500 items in the home, which doesn't seem, that's a lot of items to go online. And we start selling that first, maybe a week or so ahead of the time where we're going to host a live event, if the live event is even necessary. And most people have become really accustomed in the past months to online buying. So we have all the marketing, lots of photographs go up for each item, lots of details and descriptions and the price, and a e-commerce site where they can purchase online and then they schedule a time to come pick up with us. So we have created the system needed to allow folks to stay home and stay safe, but also let the estate sale process still work. People can get their collections, they can get their new pieces of furniture, whatever they're looking for. And it is working just as well as it was working before, if not a little bit better, I would say. It's expanding how far people are willing to come, because now they just come through their computer and all they have to worry about is coming to pick it up. As to before, they might have had to wait in a pretty long line, and their items might not have been there when they wanted. So all to say, it's really helped the estate sale side for clients to be able to have this other avenue. Like, we were selling something from our last client out of state, so we shipped it out of state, which we can totally do now. Does that kind of answer? We've opened up the realm of reaching people who don't want to come in person.
It also says the professionalism of you and your business and how established you are. When I've been with you, when we go through houses and I see Holly stop and pause, oh, that thimble collection, I need to let so-and-so know. She's got this database, never ending, of people with collections. And so she can reach out, and make those personal connections for people. So it's not just, oh, I'll come in and sell your things. We can set this up and do it. I mean, to do the e-commerce, to do it all, they offer a lot. Now, I want to go ahead on this one let's talk. Is it okay if we talk about, okay, I don't have enough for an estate. Well, no, an estate sale, having enough is looking at big items, but it's also looking at the coiningware and the collections and all of that. Tell us a little bit how you determine if there's enough for an estate sale.
So to keep the numbers a little easily understandable, out of 100 items, 70 of those items are going, like 70% of those items, they're going to be small items, and they're going to make up a much larger percentage of the total profits than your 30 furniture pieces, even at a higher dollar. So you just really, to have the full breadth of an estate sale, need to have just as many small items like decor and art and rugs and lamps and kitchen and linen and electronics, and just like a little bit of everything that you're going to find in your house. Some different types of collections, glassware, even clothing, all the way to clothing. So paper towels, cleaning supplies, anything out in your garage, anything and everything that's going to come in a home. That helps it have an estate sale. And when we come into the home, we're looking to see where you stand in terms of it being enough to be inviting for people to come. If it is not, and it falls sort of on this line, which we just recently had a client, so I have some good examples of this, but we offer instead a complete buyout process, which would be that we build an offer for you based on what is in the home, and then we come and we take everything out that you leave. Some of that will end up getting donated in a different way at that point, but it's just another way that if you don't have enough for the estate sale, we can still compensate you and take the items out of the home so it can be ready for what's next.
And that is an amazing service that is offered, you are able to offer, so that, and a lot of work goes into the preparation of that, because you're taking the risk here. You're doling out the money thinking, well, maybe we can sell this much. We know some of that's just going to have to go away, but we take the good and the bad and the ugly to make the whole package. And people have to understand then that you're taking the risk and offering that amount of money, and they're gaining that it's gone. They don't have to worry about how long it's going to take. It's gone. They get their money and they go on their way. And now you get to do with the stuff. Is it okay to mention, because you do now some of that, you have an offsite where you're able to take some of that?
So yes, we opened up about a year ago a building in Round Rock specifically for this clientele. Over the past 5 years, I just saw this increase of people having stuff, but not really qualifying to hold an event to try and liquidate it in a quick manner like that. So there's a quicker way, which is it just all gets packed up and moved on. And donation is fine for that, but we can also provide donation receipts for buyouts, because some of it does go to a donation center. But the building that we created here was so that we can bring that inventory here, and we hold events here. It's a house, basically. It's 2,000 square feet of space. And we have a dining room, we have a kitchen, we have a gathering room, we have an entertainment room, we have a library, and we just bring the houses here and we hold our own events for the community throughout. But it's just allowed, because if not, there's no risk for us to take. Ending up in a storage unit does happen. We have 3 storage units full of stuff right now waiting to come into this building. So like the inventory is constantly coming, but the blessing of the building is that we can answer more calls for this quicker, because we have a big place to get it and to then reach it back out to the market.
And I wanted to emphasize that too, for a number of our seminar attendees who've been with us for several years. One of our seminars early on, well, probably, I didn't go back to look, 3 years ago, I guess. We had someone here who was representing estate sales, and he would do the regular estate sale, or he would do auctions too, or he would do the offsite estate sales. And I had so many people so excited about that. Soon after the seminar, some situations changed in their family, and he wasn't able to do the service anymore. And I just felt so bad, because we'd gotten people so excited about this alternative. And so I was thrilled then. Actually, Holly's picked up the same place where that was. So we are back now when she sees that's the best route to go. And I know she's working with some of my clients now where there's not enough for an estate sale, but she's buying it out. And in fact, at least one of them's on the call today, I believe. And they said, well, she needs some time because she needs some things to move so she can move that in. But fortunately, we have a period of time while the house is under escrow, it's under contract. And so we're working with Holly to get that stuff out. And that's the advantage when a team works together. It's not just you do the estate sales, but we work together. Linda and I work together. We all work together. And overlap and possible, and that kind of helps that out.
Virginia?
Yes.
Could I add something to this? The estate sale business, there are a lot of very dishonest people out there doing estate sales. Holly is one of the most honest people I think I've ever come across. She and Linda both fall into this category. The honesty that they both exhibit in their businesses. With Holly, she had our money to us in less than a week after the estate sale. I have friends who've had estate sales with other people and they had to take legal action to get their money. I never for a second with either Linda or Holly questioned their honesty. And I think that's a big, big thing, especially with the estate sale business. I know there are a lot of people out there doing estate sales who are bringing truckloads of their own merchandise in. Holly and I had some discussions about that, and that's pretty much a no-no in the business, if I remember our discussion. We didn't have that with Holly at all. She's very honest. She and Linda are very, very honest.
Sure.
Yeah.
Thank you, Cheryl.
Yeah.
It's super sensitive for people to walk through this time, no matter what time of life they're doing it in. And the relationship side is really important, I know, to both me and Virginia and Linda, to all of us, because we want you to know that you're taken care of. And if it's through your stuff or through the move, it's hard to let go. It's hard to walk through the time of when you're no longer going to see the same things that you were going to see. And it's hard to trust people with your things and with your stories. And we just really want to provide you with that security, all of us as a team, that we're going to take care of you.
So true. And the other thing I wanted to stress on the estate sales, definitely what Cheryl said. In fact, the true story here is the day that Holly brought the check over to Cheryl was actually the day I met Holly. And it was just so much fun to hear the stories about the items and I mean, so anyway, but that's great. I mean, I knew how organized it'd been. It was such a line. This is pre-COVID, so you had more lines. I'd driven by and was going to go, but didn't quite make the line. So anyway, but no, they do an outstanding job. I'd seen it after hours, so I knew what it was. But when I really met Holly, and just to see the relationship they had established was so important. Another concern I have is you're looking at estate sales. I know a number that I just think the display of the items is so lacking. Now, we don't have to go over the top of the moon, cutesy, but displayed in a nice, orderly, clean way is important. And I get concerned when I just see linens thrown on beds and whatever. The other thing is I have concerns with estate sales, and not always are clear arrangements made about the clean out afterwards. And okay, well, we've finished the estate sale, these things are left. Or, well, this trash is left. Well, now come on, they're responsible for that. And as Holly said, they leave it what we call broom clean. It's clean, so then you can go in and, I mean, yes, we're gonna have cleaners come in, but they're not picking up the debris. It's ready to come in for that. And I think that's important. They know where, and really tell them too, I think I'd like to know one of the resources you're turning to for things that haven't sold up in the Killeen area, Fort Hood area. Who are you all using now?
Yeah, that's been a really cool experience. So often the clean out process it's extensive sometimes. And although we do try to sell 100% of the items, in reality, that doesn't happen. We can get upwards, we get up there and we get high, but we have to find some other resources to come in at the end and see what we're going to do next with the items. Sometimes we can come in and we can get someone to do a purchase, like we've discussed with Patrick, in different avenues of buyouts depending on the scenario. But really what we've been happy with lately is being able to use the items that are left to barter, leverage the cost of the moving out of what's left. And the company that we've been using, the folks that we've been using, they relocated up to Fort Hood to the military families, where estate sales aren't as common up there. There's just not a lot of nicer resale ability. So we bring them we can get them those things up there to the families that are serving our country. And they come down within a day or two after the process is over, and they load everything up and they take it back to Fort Hood. And we've just been hearing stories after stories about how quickly they're able to turn around these items up there, which just shows a great need up in the Fort Hood area for these guys. So that's been our main focus now, is trying to relocate it to the military area. So.
Oh, okay. Before we open this up for the floor, because I told Linda I'd come back to her, and I want to get this question out there. COVID-19, how does that impact your business, Linda?
Well, on just a day-to-day when we're in the home, so like when we come out to meet with you, that type of thing, of course, we're mask and gloves, that type of thing, just for and also we check our temperatures prior to leaving. And the team does the same thing. So when they're in your home, they're temperature checked, they wear their mask, and everything that we bring in our own, we call it our Ppe Bag. And that includes all the disinfectants and the wipes and mask and different things like that. We bring that in. We ask for if you have it, we ask for maybe just, I guess, use of a single bathroom so that we can kind of go in and clean it when we get there, and then we clean it before we leave. So that's kind of how we work on that end. Where we've seen, of course, the most change is when someone's moving into a community, because they have tightened up their restrictions. So what we see is, maybe before we were able to have 3 or 4 movers in there moving the furniture and the boxes, and then I would have 3 or 4 team members in there immediately beginning to unpack. That's where it's changed. So it seems to be either probably 3 to 4 people are allowed in the community at one time. So I may have 2 movers. So I have maybe a mover or 2 are in the truck working on that side of it, and then we have 2 movers in the apartment itself. And then I have 1 or 2 team members that are allowed to work simultaneously with the moving company. And then once the moving company leaves, then we can bring in another person or 2 to help get things unpacked. So what we're finding is, because of that slowed down process, we are able, just like Cheryl said, we're able to get the kitchen done and the bathroom done, kitchen and bathroom and the bedroom. And, we get the TV hooked up and things like that for that first night. But then we're having to return maybe a little bit of time. Kind of the hours are still the same, but we just have to spread it out a little differently. So, we return to hang the artwork and maybe do a last minute touch up, kind of that type of thing. So that's how it's affected us, as far as just needing to look at it a little differently logistically. But everything else has been essentially the same, except for just taking the precautions.
Okay. All right, Cheryl, any final words before we open it up for the questions?
No, I would just encourage everybody to use these services. There's no sense stressing yourself out, and they will take good care of you.
Okay, so now's your opportunity. Oh, I know one question was sent in to me, tools. My husband has lots of tools. He's really not, using them. Let me preface this. I'm going to backtrack 1 second. I think one of the dilemmas that people face is when Holly was reminding us that they want everything from paper towels to, we always hear that, don't get rid of anything. We can sell it. We can, we want it. The flip side is, if we're living in that house for a period of time and we're trying to juggle space, there's some of us who want to go ahead and get rid of some of the stuff. And folks, it's just a dilemma. And that we start taking donations, and then we say, oh, I wish you hadn't done that. We could use it at the estate sale. You have to do what works for you. Cheryl, I know you said you need to get some stuff out of the way. So you went ahead and donated stuff. And yes, Holly would have probably loved to sold it, but survival becomes important. So anything about that,
It's a fine line. It's a fine line to walk, but you want to have as much for that estate sale as you can.
Okay.
Definitely.
All right. Yeah. And then when I started to say tools, some people, but my husband doesn't use the tools anymore. Well, yeah, you could get rid of them anyway. So here, what would you say that when someone says, Holly, I have all these tools, we're not using them, we're not moving for a while? Any recommendations for us?
Tools also fall under what we could evaluate for a buyout process. We're willing to come look at anything. Sometimes we come for just a couple of pieces, and sometimes it's for a whole house. So it really just varies. If that's something that you're looking to pass on to someone else, then we can work with you on what a good value for both of us would be for that to occur.
Okay. And so I had someone who's working over a period of time because the way her move is going to happen, but and so again, we individualize it, and that's what's so very important. Okay. We have some questions up. If you have questions for our panelists today. If you look at the bottom of your screen, you'll see, I think, a place for you to raise your hand. Pat Prossel, I'm going to call on you, and let's see. Okay, I'm going to unmute you. Oh, no, and then but you also have to unmute yourself. I've unmuted you, it says. Can you unmute yourself, Pat? Click on that little microphone. Can you use? Now, I think I hear you faintly. Okay, we'll come back to Pat because I'm not hearing her though. Cheryl Heltney, can you unmute yourself? Cheryl? Oh,
Okay.
there you go. Yay. Hi, welcome, Cheryl.
Yeah, hi. Very impressed with the presentations. Holly, okay, so the things that are left after an estate sale, you said somebody comes in and buys them up. Is that what you were saying, and takes them up to Fort Hood?
So yes, sometimes we'll discuss it with you ahead of time. Certainly, if you have wishes for a certain place that you would like your items to go to be donated to, we can make that happen as well. We've just found that sometimes the process completing it as one big whole is best and quickest. And so there's a cost after we stop the event. There's no more money coming into the situation to kind of offset it from a cash flow perspective. So what we try and do is use this stuff to say an average clean out can range between $300 and $500. There's trash fees included. There's truck and haulers and movers. And there's lots of different fees that all of a sudden start to climb up when you're trying to then empty the rest of the contents. So what we found is that these folks instead are willing just to come get it and get it back to the Fort Hood area, and it becomes a $0 for the client. That's our goal, is by the end of it to have a $0 in the situation. So we're going to be looking at all those ways to make it to where nobody has to pay anything after the sale is over.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I think one of the points there I see when people often say, well, they're just going to take us the trash. Why do I have to pay? Well, folks, come on. Loaded. There's the cost of transportation. There's the cost at the transfer, paying the fees.
Right.
You know, things don't happen for free. And we have to remember that. And I see a hand. I'm going to call on Virginia Reed next. And that made me think of a question I wanted to ask. I know in this case, we're going to be moving out of state in the spring, we think. And Linda, if people say, okay, I know you helped resettle, you had your team to go in and resettle Cheryl, but if I'm moving to Michigan or somewhere, can you help make contacts up there?
Yeah, absolutely. So Virginia, what we would do is we would come in and essentially kind of do the same thing that we did with Cheryl on the front side. So we'd come in and help you if you're moving into a community or into a home. So we would determine what that is and what that would look like for you. And then we would, if you needed floor plans, if you're moving into a community, we could do floor plans for you so you know that you're not taking too much. So when you get there, you don't pay all the money to get things there and then have too much when you get there. Then we would do the same thing where we would go in and work with you. Our team would come in and work with you on going through the contents of the house and getting those things packed up. And so then what we have then is we also have a relationship with a long distance mover that we've been working with, I think, for 6 or 7 years. And, you know, those are always kind of a challenge. The long distance move seems to be more scary to people than even the in-town move. So we have a really trusted source for that. So we would do all the quoting, we'd get the quote on that too. And then on the flip side, wherever you're moving, we would look to see, we're part of a national organization called the National Association of Senior Move Managers. And so we would be looking to see who would be closest to you in your area if you would like that kind of help. And if you do want that help, then that individual or that company would meet the movers and they would, you know, see that things get off the truck properly and they would immediately begin unpacking also, just like we do. So we would act as a partnership in the two and so be able to help you with that. So, yeah.
Okay, so I know I jumped in, but now Virginia Reed, can you unmute yourself and what is your question? Oops. Okay. Should I? Okay. Can you now? I think you got muted again. Can you click on your microphone, Virginia? There you go.
Okay,
Virginia,
yeah.
there you go.
That was what I mainly wanted to know, what help I could get for moving long distance.
Okay.
Okay.
When I saw your name, I thought, oops, I forgot to ask that question earlier, so I threw it in there. And yeah, but and I think again, it's when people, as professionals, we're part of helping people know how to make these moves. I know, and often I've had people, and if there's not a senior move manager that through that area, I know through our Seniors Real Estate Institute, our certified senior housing professionals, I can reach out to people too who can help us make contacts. So we try to help you on that end as well. Okay, now let's see, Pat Prossel, do you have a question? We'll try again. Pat, can you click on the mic to unmute yourself? Pat? Okay, I'm gonna try again later. Let's see, maybe her question got answered. Jim Norton, you have a question. You'll have to unmute yourself. Little microphone. There you go.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we do, Jim.
Okay, first of all, thank you so very much for being where you are and talking to us at this point now. My wife and I plan to stay in our home as long as we possibly can, but the longer you stay, the more the stuff builds up in the garage and the cardboard boxes. How long do you have to hold on to medical records and dental records and loan records and all that kind of stuff? I'm a real string saver and would love to get rid of a lot of the string.
That is an outstanding question. Linda, do you all have through NASM? Do you have specific recommendations?
Well, I think it's more like for taxes, it more has to do with, what's federal guidelines. And then typically, I think if you ask your CPA, I've heard as little as 3 years and as much as 7 years. But I think 7 years is what you can probably consider to be a safe amount. And then as far as medical records, I think that, that's honestly between kind of, if you've made it through a circumstance and you don't, if it's a broken hip or whatever, I think those things can go away. If you've had a more long-term serious medical issue or whatever, I think obviously those you should keep for future needs. So, but I think anything beyond 7 years on any kind of normal paperwork, you can get rid of. I think the other thing too is on just the monthly backup paperwork that you have. Everything can be found online now. So as long as you feel comfortable being able to get online and look up your bank statement or contact the water company, they typically, you can request, several years back. So I would think most of those things you could get rid of too.
And that brings up the question of shredding. And, we look at, hopefully we'll be able to offer some shredding days, but I think, Linda, isn't that one of the services that you can help people with, make arrangements for the shredding?
Yeah, and that's an amazing thing that it's not that costly. And so, what we do if we're working with somebody, if you want help, we'll also go through the paperwork with you if you'd like to have that done. So when we just gather it up for the entire time period that we're working, and then we contact the shredder that comes out and process that on site. And so it's really a lot less expensive than you would think. And or those items can go to Office Depot. I think it's Office Depot or Office Max. That's the source.
Postal Annex in Sun City too. I think it's a pound rate per pound that you can pay for shredding. Yeah. So, okay. Other
Thank you.
Yeah.
A question that comes to my mind is the length of time it takes for all of this to happen. And I really want to stress this. And I've offered, and I know often we meet very early to start the process. And when I want people to know that there are the professionals who can reach out. Quit worrying about this. Let us from the beginning assure you we're not moving next month, but this will be the plan. We can have a plan ready to go. And, we can already, if it seems appropriate, bring in a move manager to, look at this and help plan, bring in the estate sale person and help you have peace of mind that when the time is right, we're ready to swing into action. And sometimes then, so the planning process itself is one of the questions that comes up. Do I move first or do I sell my home first? It always depends. I think so often at this point in life, it is so much easier to go ahead and make the move. And then we can do the clean out, the liquidation, get the house on the market. And we have a little bit more control over the time. There've been other times where that's just not going to be the plan. We need to sell the house sells. Now we've got to make it all happen in a short period of time. And that's where you need a team that can work together. So we can call and say, okay, here's what we need to happen in this amount of time, and what resources can we bring in to get that done. So it always depends, but most important is to already have a team in place ready to help you through the process. I think is so critical. Any other questions? I don't see other hands up right now. And you all must have done an outstanding job. I figured we'd have a lot of questions today. I know a lot of them are wanting your contact information. That will be on the follow-up. Also, let your friends know that the webinar will be up on our blog next week, and we'll be getting a follow-up email early next week, just with some information from you too. Any last words that our panelists can think of or thought, or Cheryl?
I would like to say thank you to you, Virginia, for putting us in touch with Linda and Holly and all of the other people that we worked with throughout this whole process. The Brockways to get the house ready to move or ready to sell. Thank you to all of you for what you did to make our life so much easier. And I might just encourage everybody out there, start now cleaning out, pick a kitchen drawer, pull it out. If you've got 3 sets of tongs in there, you don't need 3 sets of tongs. Don't get rid of too much, because when you contact Holly, you want to make sure you have enough for her estate sale. But you can get rid of some of the clutter that's there now that's making your life difficult. But definitely use these services when you need to move. There's no sense tormenting yourself, and they will make your life so much easier.
I have one other thing I thought I would try to share, if it's all right, Virginia. And
Sure.
Cheryl, first of all, thank you so much. You were so much fun to work with, so we appreciate that. But the one thing I know this is a really traumatic, it can be a very traumatic time, it's hard. So one of the things I always like to point out is that for the most part, when people live in their homes, they use their kitchen, they use a TV room, their bedroom, obviously their bathroom, and then they may have an office. And so people may have a 3,000 square foot home, but they're using about 1,000 square feet, maybe 1,200 square feet in their home. And so you've got this 2,000 square feet of stuff that you're just housing stuff that you probably really are not, really using. And so what we like to say is that when you go in and you're looking at these items that we're talking about getting into your floor plan so that they go to your home, is that we think the house then becomes this home of your favorites. So then you've got your favorite artwork and your favorite chairs and your favorite lamps and things like that. And you're not just having a home full of stuff now. So, think of it like that. I think that can help. That to me helps people release some of the guilt from it, and some of the, or it gives them a new, fresh understanding of the fact that it is, you're really still taking the stuff that's most important to you and that you use all the time. So,
the process is important, and I know it's hard. Truth be told, we just moved this week. We won't go into that discussion right now, but the point being, in going through that, there were a lot of memories that came, celebrate those memories, and then it may be time to let that stuff go. But we've had seminars and we'll have webinars next year. Maybe we'll have a work session for some of us on doing that sorting and organizing with the focus. What do I want to take with me? But, we do have wonderful memories. but maybe we can pass some of those items on to other people. And if we do, make sure they know the wonderful story that goes with it. So I just wanted to highlight that. And I see we have a question up from, oh, Pat, was that you?
That was me.
There,
you
we
hear
made
me?
it. And then I got Robert too. Yes, Pat, your question.
You were talking about the timing and doing stuff early. Well, of course, I didn't plan ahead.
Sometimes it doesn't work that way, Pat.
I'm still, oh gosh, I'm still trying to figure out, what to do and schedule stuff. We have a couple other things going on that have interfered, but how much time do you need and what's the soonest things can be done?
What things are you referring to, Pat?
Well, the packing and moving and that sort of thing, maybe organizing. I'm at the point where I was supposed to be moving some stuff on my own and I threw out my shoulder and so I can't do it.
Yeah. So
but, I've got a place to move into. My husband and I are separating, so the house has to be divided, which adds another complexity to the situation. So then I'm just kind of not sure where to go. I'm moving into a small place, like 1,400 square feet.
I know. So Pat, and you're right, reaching out to people about how to do that. And depending on what's happening with your home, if your realtor is involved in that when I'm the realtor with homes, I help coordinate all that. But but we can talk some more about that, or you can call. And sometimes it depends on people's schedules. I know Linda is very busy and they do the best to accommodate people, but that's where we plan earlier. And if we need be, what are some other options? Does that sort of answer your question, Pat?
Yeah, it does. It was just like I was trying to figure out even where to start, and I know the holidays, and there's got to be a lot going on, and I'm going, and the sale of our house is up and down. We've had 3 offers in the last week, but we're still trying to figure out what's going on.
And we may, follow up with I know you have your house listed, so it's, and your realtor can maybe give you some guidance on this area too. But we'll reach out if Linda can't help. If we need to find some other options, there would be some other options out there. So I know you've got a lot going on, and see what we can do to help with that.
Okay, so Linda, should I call you?
Yeah, absolutely. That would be great, Pat. We can see what your timing is. I mean, on a typical situation, we've done them very quickly if we need to, but scheduling is always has to be, always considered, but I guess on more time is always the better for people. We can what we'll do if we start out earlier, we'll get all of the logistics planned out, the scheduling, the movers, that type of stuff, floor plans. And then we'll, as soon as the date is decided on it, then we back up with how many days we think we need to go into pack. So kind of a sweet spot typically is 3 to 4 weeks. But we have done them as early as, quickly as a week. So anyway, so all that being said, Pat, is just give me a call and we can see how we can help.
Okay. Yeah, I've been trying to, waiting for answers on like the timing of the divorce, the timing on the house. And I'm sitting here going,
becomes overwhelming. It does. I know. I need to move on. Robert, you have, okay. Yeah, I think you're, Robert, can you,
yes.
You have a question?
Can you hear me okay?
Sure, go ahead.
I have a question. If it's not ready to move right now, but there's things that I need that I can either get rid of or that I shouldn't get rid of in terms of what would be valuable or useful in a estate sale. How do you go? Because I could see stages right now of just having a plan as to what we'd want to do and getting rid of some of the stuff and some of the stuff I shouldn't get rid of. But even after starting to move, we still maybe want to leave some furniture in the house, but certainly get rid of part of it or move part of it. How do you work with that? It'd be over a period of time, and it might be a month, it might be a year before really wanted to completely move.
Okay, so I hear several questions, and I'm gonna ask Holly one about, I think, are you willing to look at stuff at a person's house and kind of help them think about what would be appropriate for the sale, and give them some kind of a consultation advice type meeting with people?
Absolutely. We'll come out and meet several times if we need to, just to walk through the process and see what's going to be best. And if you're willing, if you're ready to let go of some things now, we can look at a buyout option each individual time if that's what's necessary. If you're wanting to hold an estate sale event, the more you start to do that, the less likely that is to happen. But if that's what's best fit for your situation, we'd be happy to come out and just advise and chat with you and get to know kind of what you're looking at and see what we can do for sure.
And Robert, too, that's where, as a coordinator, when I can meet with people and we talk about what are your long-term plans, and sometimes say, oh, we're going to leave this furniture in the house until it sells. That may not always be the best plan. That's where we have to work together. Sometimes it's easier just to go ahead and clear the house. In my case, I bring in some decorative items. We do some staging to get the house sold. And, it also depends on the market. The market is so hot right now. You get your house on the market and it sells very quickly, unlike last year, Cheryl. I have to tell just a quick personal story. I was working with Cheryl. We put all this together. Everything had been great. She absolutely loved Linda, got through the move management. Turned to Holly, absolutely loved Holly, loved the people who came in and did the property preparation. The house goes on the market. I'm the realtor. It takes a little longer to sell than we had hoped it would be. You have no idea how I was sweating this out. She's loved everybody else. She loved the coordinator, but her realtor's just taking longer. And oh my God, I don't think I've ever celebrated receiving a contract more than I did when yours came in. Just a personal story about the emotions that go with all of this.
And we still love you. Yes.
I'm still on your list. That's good. I appreciate that. Okay. I think, any other questions? So Robert, your question was a good one. And it always depends, but that's what I like to do in initial planning to help people. And then we know when we can bring in the other resources in it. Like I say, right now, the market is so tight. I mean, so hot. We don't know, how it's going to play out in the future, but we hope it continues. What I'm reading is that it will, but pretty sad, not sad. It's interesting when you put them on the market and you expect them to be sold in the first weekend. And I had one recently. I think someone's on the call today. It took 10 days. It seemed like an eternity, and like 10 weeks used to be, or whatever. But part of that is the communication and the relationship with people. And so we all value that. I think it's been very clear today. I'm thrilled to have this great group of people that I can call on. We all work together. And it's great when we have wonderful clients like Cheryl, and hope to have more wonderful clients from this group. We did not do the webinars in November. I think we kind of started that thought when we were at First Presbyterian, which we missed our live seminars. And it just seemed with so much going on in the church in December and our own personal lives, we opted not to do seminars in December, but we pick up again in January. I don't have the date with me. It'd be the third Thursday, and it is Living to be 100. So that will be an interesting one as we continue to plan that out. But during the year next year, we will revisit these topics. Some people say, oh, you've already talked about downsizing. I don't need to come to that one again. I think every time it's different. We have different people, even if it's the same people, sometimes different points come out. We personally, as attendees, are in different places. And so we hear different things. So join us. And I hope that please have a special Thanksgiving. We know 2020 has been a challenging year. We overuse that word, but we've made it through it. Good things have come out of it. And in our case, we're glad that we've been able to reach some people through webinars who weren't able to attend live seminars. And now we do have them up on the blog post. We look forward to live seminars for some people who don't want to do them on Zoom, which we all have our love and hate with Zoom, but we survive it. I want to thank Jeff Crimp, who helps us with the technology, and it can throw us loops, but he gets us through it usually, and we appreciate that. Vez Daly works with me on managing registration. We appreciate that. Most of all, I appreciate our attendees. We've had loyal supporters over the year. 5 years, pretty amazing. But I hope you have a great Thanksgiving, a very special Christmas. Hope you do get to be with family and stay safe. Feel free to call me with questions. You'll be getting follow-up information. And we look forward to seeing you in January. So anything else? I think that's it. Okay, thanks. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.